I beg your pardon, is placed. That place is called the disc. So now, one of the causes of brake failure that I have here, of course, is the damaged disc. So that disc, there is need for you to always check when the disc is damaged. The brake pad is supposed to hold very firm, closely tight to the disc, to the car disc. So when that disc is damaged, maybe chopped off, because you drive it constantly and it keeps working, so it can also chop up, or the edge is not as smooth as it's supposed to be. So if the disc is damaged, it can also cause brake failure, because at that point the brake and the discs that are supposed to work one-on-one are no longer together. The brake pad is just there, while the disc that is supposed to work with the brake pad is not in good shape. So now you know that damaged disc can also cause brake failure in a car. All right, so the next thing I have here is leaking hydraulic fluid. Leaking hydraulic fluid. Now we all know that hydraulic is the brake oil, popularly called brake oil. If you apply the brake oil in the space that is created for it, all right, now there is a space where you fuel the brake oil. Now it also have a gauge. So when you put in the oil and it gets to that gauge, and you see that is losing, like it's going down too fast, there is need for you to check what is the problem. You might not know, and sometimes those pipes that are tied to the brake pad area, to the brake oil area, I beg your pardon, where we put the hydraulic, sometimes those pipes are constantly wet, they are looking oily, they are not looking okay, it's not looking dry as it's supposed to be. That way you will know that the brake oil is leaking. So that can also cause brake failure, because there will be no enough fluid for the brake gadget to feed on. Do you understand? So that can also cause brake failure in your car. So there is need for you to always check the fluid, check the hydraulic fluid, check if it's gauged, check if it's leaking, because that is more like the food that is being fed to the discs and to the brake pad and to every other part of the car that is supposed to be fed from that hydraulic fluid. So there is need for you to always check if it is leaking. All right, now another thing that can cause brake failure in your car is driving through mud or water. Yes, now when you drive through mud, like muddy area, I don't know how that is called, but when you drive through mud or water, that water penetrates to the discs and every other part of the wheels. Do you understand? And now when it penetrates like that, some of the water will become stagnant somewhere inside, and then it will cause rust. So when the disc is rust, it cannot function as it's supposed to function. So that is why it's always good that when you pass through mud or through water, when you come out, you don't start speeding immediately. You have to drive in a very slow, maybe like 40 or maybe even less than 40, so that you can understand if your car is in order. And when you come out from the mud or the water and you're driving, try accelerating the brake, try stepping on the brake, I beg your pardon, try stepping on the brake to see if it's working, to see if it's catching. Then you can know that okay, you are in order. So when you enter water like that, it depends on the speed that you drive through the water or through the mud. Some cases the force from the water might even have to shift your brake pad from the actual position, so you wouldn't know what you have in front of you. So there is need for you to always know that when you drive through mud or through water, it can cause brake failure. So when you come out of such area, you don't start speeding immediately. You drive a while, check your brake. While you're doing that, you're stepping on the brake to be sure that you are in order before you can now accelerate proper. All right, so next that I have here is loss of hydraulic brake fluid pressure. Yes, now this hydraulic fluid that I said is like the food that you're feeding to the brake pad and every other part of the car that is supposed to be fed from that fluid, right? It has a pressure. There's supposed to be a particular pressure that is applied. So when that pressure is not coming through the pipes, through the required pipes that was supposed to now go to every other legs of the car, it can also cause brake failure. That is why, if you notice, when you're using your your handbrake, you see how the handbrake is connected to every other part to every leg, to the 4 legs of the car. So for you to pull up the handbrakes and the car automatically will stop, you should know that is how the fluid also works. So when there is no enough pressure, there's supposed to be a pressure through those pipes to go to all the legs and all the parts of the car that is supposed to be applying the fluid on. So when that is not there, it can also cause brake failure in your car. All right, so if you are just joining, this is Top Gear on Eagles 102.3, your radio experience. And don't forget that Top Gear, of course, is a segment inside the Sunny Side Show. Okay, and my name is Rachel. So right now I'm going to open the phone lines so that we can use the next 10 minutes to see your contribution to how you can save some other person that is listening to us on the things to do and how to take precaution to avoid brake failure in their cars. So join me on the conversation on 090 7353 0044 or 090 87668888. And don't forget that you can also send that thought to the WhatsApp line on 09097054450. Let me know what you have to add up to what I have said. What do you think are the other things that are additional to the things we can do or adhere to avoid car brake failure that is being produced or that is advisable for the flight to carry to enable smooth movement? So that is how it's supposed to be with your car. There are some cars that cannot carry more than a particular kilos. So when you're carrying load, overloading your cars, and to the extent that the car cannot even move as it's supposed to be, the car is moving and is sweeping to the left and to the right and all of that. So overloading, yes, can also cause brake failure in your car. So there is need for you to always understand and balance